Congressman, let me ask you first of all, in your mind, who is responsible for what happened here in Dayton?
Well, ultimately, the shooter is responsible, but government actions could help prevent somebody from getting access to these kind of weapons. And these weapons of war should not be on the street killing our citizens. And it's time for Mitch McConnell to get off his ass and do something. We have passed legislation from the House. It's sitting on the steps of the Senate. He won't do it because he's in the pocket of the NRA. And people are getting slaughtered in Dayton and El Paso and Northern California, at Sandy Hook, I mean, on and on. Mother Emanuel AME down in South Carolina. This is happening all over our country. Chardon, you know, I mean, come on. What are we doing here? And it's sickening, it's infuriating. I think most Americans go from tears to rage, and I'm one of them, and it's time for action.
When Governor DeWine spoke here last night and the crowd shouted over and over again to do something, do you think the governor heard that and they will actually take action?
I hope he did. I hope he did, because it was pretty clear that the people of Dayton are tired. And when I walked through the crowd after, I stayed 2 hours after and shook hands and hugged people, and there were as many Republicans here as Democrats saying, please talk to my party, please get the message to my party. And I hope Governor DeWine got that message.
You're running for president. If you were president of the United States, how would you have handled yesterday?
Well, I think you show up, I think, at one of these places. You show up in El Paso or you show up in Dayton, you put your arms around the American people and you tell them you love them and you care about them and this is not going to stand anymore. And when I get back to Washington, I'm going to call the Congress back and we're going to pass government reform. We're going to pass an assault weapons ban. We're going to pass a background check. We're going to study this as a public health crisis. And we are going to do everything we can to prevent this senseless violence from ripping families and communities apart.
When I talked to the governor,
why do you think they're stalling?
They're in the pocket of the NRA. I mean, there's no question about it. Trump does not want to forego his support from the National Rifle Association in a Republican primary, and Mitch McConnell and all these other Republicans don't want someone running against them in a Republican primary from the right with the support of the NRA. And so a very small group has control of the entire political apparatus today, which is why you've got to dislodge President Trump and you have got to dislodge Mitch McConnell and the Republicans from the Senate, or you're never going to see the kind of common sense reforms that we need.
When I talked to the governor about changes in policy, he said he needs more time to go through the investigation, look at motive. But when you have two mass shootings in less than 12 hours, what's your response to that?
That's bullshit. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that's horseshit. I mean, go explain that to these families, and we've had more mass shootings and more people killed in the last 10 or 15 years than we lost in 9/11. And what are we studying? There's nothing to study anymore. I mean, you know, you need mental health, you need this, you need that, we need social and emotional learning in the schools, we need trauma-informed care in the schools, we need mental health counselors in schools and access to mental health care. Of course, but these people who need treatment are getting guns, weapons of war, and killing people. And there's nothing left to study. So, you know, Mike DeWine's a good guy, but that's bullshit. And that is unacceptable in today's society anymore. We're just not going to take it. I'm telling you, we're going to mobilize this country around this. And it's not just the gun issue. It's the mental health issue. It's health care. It's income inequality. People are fed up. And this is just one. I think this is starting the fire of where this country wants to go.
So what's your response to people who say, don't take away my constitutional rights?
Look, I hunt. I take my 16-year-old. We do at least once a year, we do a duck hunt. You know, I mean, as someone who hunts, I'm with 80% of the hunters who say we should have a background check, and 80% of the hunters who say we shouldn't have weapons of war on the street. We're from Ohio. That's part of our tradition, and no one's going to take your hunting rifle away from you. But when kids who have issues are incited by the president's rhetoric around immigration, and they get in a truck and they drive 10 hours and mow people down in a Walmart, that weapon should not be allowed. And we're not taking anyone's right to, you know, defend their family or go hunting. And I say that as a hunter. So let's get on with it and remove that as a barrier to do something.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for being down here.